Let's rewind a bit. On June 17th, the economy minister says Russia is on the edge of another recession. Then just 3 days later, June 20th, Sberbank CEO chimes in with an even scarier phrase. Russia is heading into a perfect storm. You know it's bad when Russia's top banker sounds like a weather forecaster from a disaster movie. So yeah, Putin couldn't keep up the charade. He had to admit it. So what's actually going on? Let's start at the root, the oil and gas fields deep in Russia. For decades, these have been Moscow's golden goose. But now, they're drying up, not literally but financially. Oil and gas account for 20% of Russia's GDP and up to half of the federal budget. But prices have tanked. Why? Because Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states are pumping out oil like there's no tomorrow. Result? Russia's oil and gas revenues have fallen by 35% in just 1 year. Ouch! Add to that a 28% drop in extraction taxes, and boom, Russia's losing almost 2% of its GDP growth just like that. And here's the kicker. All this is happening while Putin is burning cash like crazy on the war. You think tanks, missiles, and pensions for dead soldiers are cheap? Nope. It costs around $50,000 just to keep one soldier on the battlefield per year. And in 2025, Russia's war expenses are eating up a third of the entire federal budget. That's insane. So, where does Putin get the money? Well, part of the answer is ordinary Russians. And not the ones fighting in Ukraine. Those poor souls are cannon fodder. I'm talking about the men who stay behind in Russia. With so many guys being shipped off to war, the labor shortage is driving up wages. Unemployment? Just 2%. Wages? Up 15% in 1 month. Sounds good on paper, right? Like, wow, Russia's booming. But nope, don't be fooled. People are making more rubles, but those rubles are worth less every day. Inflation? It's brutal. Almost 10% a year. That makes Russia the world's inflation champion. Imagine prices jumping 35% since Putin launched his so-called special military operation. Ordinary people can't even afford basic stuff: potatoes, cherries, bread. And when bread itself gets sliced in half and sold in a plastic bag, as if it's some kind of luxury item, that tells you all you need to know. And how does the government fix this? With the oldest failed trick in the book, price controls. Remember Rome? Yeah, they tried it. It failed then too. Moscow capped egg prices. Now people can't even find real eggs, just liquid egg substitutes. And now the same thing's happening with bread. It's humiliating. Meanwhile, interest rates are sky high, 20%. That chokes businesses, bakeries, shops, anyone who needs loans to survive. And then taxes? Oh, they jack those up too. For the first time in history, Russia has a progressive income tax. Companies now pay 25% corporate tax instead of 20%. And guess where that money goes? Straight into Putin's war chest. Not into schools, not into healthcare, just more bullets, tanks, and rockets. But here's the twist. Russia's not just sitting there. They're cheating the system. Sanctions evasion. It's basically international smuggling with a fancy name. You cut off one supply route, and Russia opens 3 more. Through China, Armenia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, you name it. Shell companies, secret logistics, midnight deals, straight out of a mafia movie. But it's costing them a fortune. That $100 piece of equipment now costs $400 on the black market. So yes, Russia's still getting its weapons parts, but it's bleeding money like crazy to do it. And then there's the ruble. Remember when it crashed to 135 rubles per dollar back in 2022? Putin did his magic tricks, forced currency conversions, capital controls, making Europe pay for gas in rubles. For a while it worked. The ruble looked stable. But then sanctions hit Sberbank, the last big bank keeping things afloat. And guess what? The ruble actually got too strong recently. Imagine that. Putin wanted a weak but stable ruble, but now it's so strong, Russia's exports are suffering. It's like his own magic trick backfired. So here's the bottom line. Putin's stuck. He's got 3 doors in front of him. End the war, apologize, give Ukraine back its land. Yeah, right. He'd rather disappear into exile than do that. Sell more oil and gas to friends like China and India. But he doesn't control the global oil market. Cut military spending. And guess what? He actually announced he'll do that starting 2026. Why 2026? Because that's exactly when experts say Russia's economy and military will be at its weakest. And the evidence is already here. Russia's tank production is collapsing. Their air defense systems in Crimea are getting blown up, and they've lost over 4,000 tanks in this war. Even NATO admits Russia makes more ammunition than the whole alliance combined. But tanks? Missiles? High-tech defenses? They're running out. So the big question now, how long can Putin's economy actually hold out? With inflation raging, sanctions biting, tanks burning, and bread being sold by the slice, it feels like the clock is ticking. What do you think? Does Russia tough it out? Or is this the beginning of the end for Putin's war machine?